I don't know. Do you really not understand this is the time to make cuts? Ha! No? I'm guessing that the people do. I'm guessing the teachers do. I'm guessing the fire and the police do. It's just the politicians and the unions. That's why they're continually piling on more unsustainable debt. Because the best way to fundamentally transform America is to collapse it first. If you don't know what Cloward and Piven is, I beg you to read The Weight of the Poor, A Strategy to End Poverty. It was originally published in 1966. Cloward A. Piven and Francis Fox Piven. What's his name? Cloward and Fox Piven. They had a theory to force change through chaos, collapsing the system by overwhelming the welfare system. It's great. It's great. I'll send it out in my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com. You can sign up for it now. We'll send it out tomorrow. Sign up right now to get it. How else can you explain the unwillingness to turn from reckless promises? Last week, I showed you how unsustainable the pensions are. Do you remember when I showed the little... Here it is.
The unions have convinced the firefighters that this was sustainable. And the politicians helped them.
Okay.
Now, when these 19 firefighters
we couldn't do this
to pay their pensions, how many?
There it is. It doesn't work. You can't survive this. Barack Obama and his union's special interests keep piling up more and more and more. And then on top of it, more debt. Wait until I show you the refinancing boom. We'll do that next. I was telling you a minute ago, we just keep on piling debt. And here's the latest. Now we're bailing out Freddie Mac. Haven't we? We've done that already, right? Yes. Now it's another $1.8 billion. It's needed to bring the two-year total to $64 billion. They lost $6 billion in the second quarter. But what does Barack Obama want to do now? Well, he wants to now pay for everybody who's underwater. Pay every mortgage that's underwater in America. That includes my house, although I don't think that's 15 million U.S. mortgages. About 20% of all mortgages are underwater. That's totaling $800 billion. Now, me personally, if you're going to do this idea, maybe we should have done this, before we did the $787 billion stimulus package. No. Maybe we should have done this instead of TARP. No. We did those and now this. May I ask you who's going to pay that? Oh, and by the way, the other thing they're proposing is, what we're going to start doing here is we're going to start relaxing the qualifying standards for home loans so people who don't normally qualify can benefit. How? Oh, that's great. So that's kind of like what we did with the subprime loans. Yeah. This is what I think, what does the president call those moments where he does something stupid and then deflects everybody looking at him by saying, oh, yeah. We should use this as a teachable moment. I know a lot of people have homes underwater. Like I said, I do. But now is the time to ask yourself, what are you trading for your getting out of that home? We're taking this from a president who I don't think can exercise self-control. How you doing with the smoking thing, Mr. President? I know it's tough. I gave up 2 packs a day. I gave it up. I know it's tough. How you doing? You can't exercise self-control. You tell us to, cut back. You tell us to be careful with our spending, not go to Vegas. But then you go and take a helicopter to go a couple of miles, and then your wife takes our money and goes to Spain with a bunch of friends. How can we expect a family who has taken several vacations in recent weeks to understand we can't afford the pensions and everything else? The latest estimates have our debt now in state pensions at $3.1 trillion. I think it was about a year ago they estimated it $1 trillion. Now it's $3 trillion. They're going to now announce the mortgage bailout before the elections, and people are going to eat it up. But every time, America, you eat these freebies, there's nothing free. They'll give more freebies, and they'll take more. But you don't see what they're taking. They're taking your children. See, they take it, and they take it very subtle. That's why the feds have left the back door open. on TARP. They just left that door wide open. Take it whenever they want. They can take more money. That's why the Treasury Department waived a $400 billion limit on financial assistance to Freddie and Fannie. It's a never-ending slush fund and bailout system, and Congress is irrelevant. I have news for you. I have news for you. No matter what they say, nothing is free. At some point, you have to pay this price. The fun and games end. Now, who is going to pay for it? It's not going to be the rich. It's not. It's going to be our kids. We are creating a system right now where our kids will be the slave to the government and debt. They will be working off to pay all of these things that we're now enjoying. Is it worth it? We all want something better for our children. Them paying for our health care or our Viagra or your house, my house, is not worth it. It's reprehensible. Reprehensible. It's wrong. We're sitting here and asking them to pay for my house or your house? You got to be kidding me. They will be sitting around the table looking for the free scraps from the government. The answer is at the ballot box, but it's also here. The answer is personal responsibility. When the carrot is dangled out in front of you, stop and remember that by accepting it, it's enslaving your children. It's going to take away not only your freedom, but their freedom. My grandfather taught me we don't take government money. We don't take it. We work for every dollar. He told me there is no job beneath any American. Not me, not you. I teach that to my kids. I'll mow lawns if I have to. I'll clean dishes. I won't take a handout. Now, that may not be enough to get me through, but that's why I have a church. You got to stand on principles, and it's going to be tough. It doesn't mean you don't ask for help. It means you be very careful on what you sign. Be very careful that you don't enslave yourself or your children. We are the only ones that can stop this cycle. You've got to stop it at the state and local level. These pensions are being pushed by the same people who are saying, workers of the world unite. This is an idea to push all of that sovereignty up to the federal level. No more handouts. Each time you accept a free gift from the government, you are taking a piece of freedom from your children and selling it to them for what? What we're doing is unsustainable. You know it. This is a train wreck in slow motion. Eventually, it stops. Now, who has to put it back together? This weekend, something happened, and I puzzled and puzzled until my puzzler was sore. The president said he's not that far removed from what most Americans are going through because his daughter's college funds have fluctuated a little in value. I didn't realize the president had it so tough. Silly me. Here I thought the president was out of touch with the average American because he prefers arugula and plays basketball with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, sings with Paul McCartney, and his wife threw me off the scent of struggle just a little bit with her recent mother-daughter trip to Spain. She flew on an AC-32A, that's a 757, which usually serves as Air Force Two and sometimes Air Force One. It only costs $11,351 per hour to operate. Then the First Lady reserved 30 rooms in an opulent 5-star hotel. Oh, it's beautiful. It was just for her and approximately 40 of her friends. Now, I'm not a sacrifice expert, so forgive me, but where exactly is the sacrifice here? Was this your vacation? Did she sacrifice your vacation? The security cost alone cost you, the taxpayer, reportedly $75,000 per day. May I ask another question? Is there no place to spend all that money here? No, apparently not. Here's the response from the White House. Michelle promised one of her closest friends, a longtime Chicago pal who lost her father recently, she'd spend some time with her. Really? That sounds kind. Did you think about just going over to her house? Surely there is some place in the continental U.S. that sells arugula and would make a nice meeting place for you to hold her. Spain? Spain. Now, here's where I puzzled this weekend. Are the Obamas really this tone deaf? I mean, you got Michelle ordering coats from an exclusive designer in London who designed a coat for a Spice Girl. That's great, isn't it? I mean, talk about an insult here. There are plenty of coat stores here in America who haven't tarnished themselves with designs for crappy girl bands. They're either incredibly tone deaf or Obama's just not running for re-election. He's going to be a one-term president. He knows it. That was his plan. Just do one term. He knew jamming everything through would make him unpopular. In fact, all the people that had all the plans laid before he even, won the nomination told him that. He'll take the fall for it because the presidency is no longer a destination. It's a portal. It's a stepping stone. And then Hillary will step in about a year to carry all the water. Yeah, she'll say, I got a break with this guy. She's going to look like Ronald Reagan compared to Barack Obama. Oh, it'll be the common sense that America is looking for. But let's not forget that she just threw a $5 million wedding for her daughter. But at least, in this case, that was her money. And she also spent all that money here in America. Well, you've heard of the Roaring '20s. But why were they roaring? Calvin Coolidge and another guy, his partner, Mr. Mellon. In the 1920s, about one-third of the national debt was cut. Unemployment averaged 3.3%. How'd they do that? Calvin Coolidge ran a country with small government, low taxes, and fought for a free market so people could reap the rewards and their own success. Why didn't you learn about him in school? You know why. You'll learn about him here Friday. From New York, good night, America.